Hey everybody, it's the Bearded Geographer here for another, hopefully short walkthrough video. So, trying to do shorter videos, just to try and make them a little bit more accessible. Not everybody likes a long 40-minute slog, and I do look at my analytics and I can see people don't tend to stay for the whole 40 minutes. So, shorter videos on individual sections, then you can choose which parts of these exam papers you really want to focus into. Remember, I'm not here to give you the answers. That is not what I'm here to do. I'm here to walk you through exam style questions so you can hear a geography teacher and an examiner walk you through how to answer them, what to look for, how to pick them apart, because these questions are not always the easiest. In fact, they're not designed to be easy, they're designed to make you think. This is from my school's November mocks from the 24-25 academic year. So these are not official AQA GCSE questions, but they are styled like that. So just bear that in mind. So for example, you can see here on the rivers section we're going to look at, this map is not great in its resolution. So obviously in a real exam, this would be a lot better. Okay, let's have a little look at this and hopefully get through this in a decent time. So we have got figure 17, part of the river Annan, or Annan, okay? So it says, 4.1, giving one piece of evidence that the river Annan is in its lower course, okay? Now, looking at the figure, there are a few points we could make, okay? If we could see the contours clearly, we could say that the gradient is quite flat, something we could say. You could also make the point as well potentially, you could also make the point as well potentially that the river has got nice wide meanders, okay, so it's flowing in big long curves. So again, something you could use there. Your revision should help you out there. Okay, next, this is where the res of the map could be quite difficult. What you have to do is look at these 4 figure grid references. So you need to find each one of them on your map and figure out what the steepest gradient is. So with gradients, what you're thinking about is, just change the colour. Okay, it's kind of like an orangey colour like that. So if your lines are very close together, like this. So if your contour lines are quite close together, that means there is a steep gradient. If your contour lines are quite far apart, then that means you've got more of a shallow or a flat gradient. Okay. Now I'm not going to go through this because it'd take me quite a long time to go through each one, but this is then when you do your along the corridor and up the stairs. So say for example the first one is 0877, so you go to 08 and then you go up to 77, and that is this grid square here. Okay, so you'd have a look in there and check it out. Okie dokie. Using figure 17, measure the distance along the course of the river from X to Y. So this is where you'd go back up. You would load up your ruler. You'd get your ruler. You would measure up your ruler to both points. So assuming this ruler is correct, you've got, well, the map is, obviously I don't know how the res is going to work on this, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 centimeters, okay, and we know that 2 centimeters is worth 1 kilometer. Okay, so we know that if 2 is 1, then 4 is 2, then half a kilometer would be 1. So we have got a distance of, here we go, getting a bit aggravated, the iPad, 4.5, and that will be 4.5 kilometers. Okay, so 4.5. Come on, iPad. There we go. 4.5 kilometers. Cool. All right, next one. Describe how the characteristics of a river change as it moves downstream. Now let's imagine you arrive at this question and you are really, really not sure, so you're a bit bamboozled by this question, slow down and take your time. So, it says describe. You got characteristics of the river as it moves downstream. The characteristics are what it looks like, okay, as it moves downstream towards, I'm going to run out of space. Let's see. 2 marks. Now, this is one of those examples where, because this is a mock with AQA style questions, I actually think in a real exam this would probably be more of an outline. Okay, but what you'd want to do here is probably just give a couple of ways a river changes as it moves downstream. So for me, you'd be saying things like it gets deep. Oh, we've died. Hang on, let's go back. Don't want glaciers. Here we go. We've lost all our notes, but don't worry, the show must go on. So we might say that it gets deeper, it gets wider, it gets faster. The iPad clearly is feeling quite moody. So there we go, that's that one. Get rid of that. There we go. So, nearly there. So we've got figure 18, photograph of a landform. Even if you've not been revising, this should be pretty straightforward. It's a waterfall. So what you've got to do is you've got to explain how a waterfall forms. So you've got your command word. It's basically a formation question. So this is what we would call the process model. So you're kind of doing firstly, secondly, thirdly, and so on. And you're just going into that detail, making reference to figure 18. In how you make reference to figure 18, this is probably a little bit tougher. What you might want to make reference to here, so if your revision is revealing this, then what you'll know is that the hard rock here is a rock called whinstone. So you could say the hard rock at high force is known as whinstone. The water flows over hard rock and begins to undercut soft rock. Another point you can make as well here is what you can actually see here is a waterfall and a waterfall gorge. So you could say, finally the waterfall will retreat, leaving behind a steep-sided waterfall gorge. Okay, so again, just a bit of your revision will help you out there along the way. Okay, last question. So this looks a little bit daunting. Anything like this, just slow down. Okay, what you've got here is 2 flood hydrographs. One for an area called Ostwick or Ostwick Beck, and another one for Clapham Beck. This is where your revision is absolutely key. Okay, your revision will hopefully give you a level of understanding about these hydrographs. I'm not here to reteach this. I'm here to teach how to answer the question. So, if you're not sure about flood hydrographs, go away and revise them. But if we have a look here, you've got a statement. So, differences in the shape of the hydrographs are caused only by the physical factors. Do you agree? Use them to explain your answer. First thing you've got to do you agree or disagree? Okay, so you've got to figure that out. For me, as a geographer, I would say, no, I do not agree. Okay? What you've then got to do is think about how you link in the figures. Okay? So I'm saying, no, I don't agree with this. Because as you can see, with Ostwick Beck, there is a steep rising limb. Okay? The discharge is going up quickly. Okay? You could say, using that figure, it goes from 5 cumecs to 25 QMEX in what, 8 hours? And then that is when you then get into your detail about why. So this is potentially because it's in an urban area, impermeable surfaces, drains, the water is able to run off to the river quicker, meaning it fills quicker. But then you might say, well, actually, no, there can be physical factors. For example, with Clapham Beck, you've got a shallow rising limb. Okay, so you're using the figures. You then give that, sorry, the iPad is being a bit temperamental. You then give that amount. So you're saying it goes from 5 QMEX to, 10 QMEX in, 20 hours or so? So the river is filling up a lot slower. And then that is when you go into your detail. Okay? So that's when you're talking about, well, this is probably a rural area with more grassland, more fields. So there's more infiltration, more through water flow, more groundwater flow, more interception from things like trees and plants, more areas where the water can store, so ponds and lakes and such. And then that would take you through basically to the finish of this question. So whenever you've got something like this, you want to make your point really clear. No, I don't agree. Yes, I do agree. And then use the figure to put your point across. I can see it was 5 and then it's 25 in 8 hours. Okay, so it goes up by 20 QMEX in 8 hours, whereas Clapham Beck goes up by 5 QMEX in 20 hours. Okay. Then you get your detail in. Last top tip. This question is begging you not to agree. If they wanted you to agree, they would give you 2 hydrographs that pretty much looked the same. They're not doing that. They're giving you 2 very different ones because your revision should reveal that this is probably an urban area and this is probably a rural area. Okay, drawing the same stuff. All right, hopefully that was useful for you guys. Sorry about my temperamental iPad. It is about 5-6 years old, so it's definitely feeling its age. But hopefully that was useful for you. Happy Friday 13th. Take care, everybody.